Welcome to Discovering. On last week's show, we set beaver traps under the ice, and tonight we're checking those traps.
We shouldn't have conditions like this in February. Well, that's a big beaver.
So sit back and relax. It's Monday night, and it's time for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
After we left those traps soak overnight, it was like Christmas morning, and we were back on the ice, eager to see what gifts we caught.
Yeah, we got skunked on this one. Nothing in that one. The ice is crystal clear. Well, I was hoping for a catch on that. And we got skunked.
Our first spot was nothing but disappointment.
Skunked again. If you have a 100% success rate, we won't have anything left. Trapping season for beaver starts October 25th and goes through April 30th. So I have a long season for beaver. Really slippery today. 0 for 2 on stops. I've set one day, pull the next because of my work schedule. I've worked 6 on, I'm off for 2. So I call it my blitz. I set one day, pull the next, and whatever I get, I get. I can see my trap stand still standing in the hole. Well, maybe we'll have luck back here. Nothing. You win some, you lose some, I guess. Well, the beavers weren't using this hut at all this week, I guess. I'll spring the trap. The springs will be compressed and ready for next week. Next week I just grab this and right on my sled and put it right back in the same spot. Hopefully I catch something. So there's some air bubbles here. Means there's some action around here, but if there's one in the trap, that's another thing. A moment of truth.
22 traps means in no way you're going to catch 22 beavers. It just increases your chance at a few. And trappers don't want to trap out every single beaver, or there would be none left to repopulate for the next season.
That's all right. 4 more here and then 2 in the other place. I'm hoping we get one. This ain't looking promising at all. Oh, not a good day. So far I'm 0 for 16. Or 0 for 15, I take that back. That's the way it goes. Well, one more. I think we got one. Oh. That's about a 40 pound beaver. Try to get all the excess water off of it. Yeah, approximately 40 pounds, maybe. Could be pushing 50. Well, my dad, back when I was a 6th, 7th grade, he bought some traps. We had some muskrats behind his barn. He bought 3 traps and took us boys down there. And that year we caught 6 rats. The following year we caught 13 and I was hooked. Mm-hmm. And I started trapping all the way through my high school years. The fur I sold, paid for basketball shoes to play basketball at Trout Creek. My senior year I got 25 beaver and I got $250, $10 a piece. Mm-hmm. Last year I had a couple that sold for, one sold for 56 and the rest were in the 40s, high 40s.
The global fur market fluctuates yearly based on supply and demand. The price for beaver pelts is the highest it's been in over a decade. Why? Prime beaver fur or felt hats. Sound familiar? Whereas the fashion trend that began the fur trade 400 years ago was the top hat worn by European gentlemen, the hat today that's all the rage and driving beaver prices up are the cowboy hats of Yellowstone.
I sent them to Canada to Fur Harvesters Auction House. They have a fur pickup. Got my furs prepped. They gotta be all dried. The dried fur like this hide here. Mm-hmm. That's the way they want it done. Send them up there. They have the auction, 2 auctions a year. And it takes about a month or 2 months to get your fur check. Yeah, this is a 50 pound beaver I caught earlier in the season. Last season I caught 76 or 72, I take that back, 72. I'm hoping to get more than 72 this winter. I'm hoping to send 100 to the auction house, which would be nice. It buys toys. I bought a crossbow this last year with fur money. And I buy other things too, more traps or trapping supplies.
The fur isn't the only part of a beaver worth money.
This tail got a bite mark in it. It's not worth anything. If it's a good clean tail, they'll give you 50 cents to $1. Then there's castor glands here. Those are, the highest I seen was $110 a pound for those. And that was a couple years ago. Now they're down to about $25 a pound. Believe it or not, the beaver tail you can use for ice fishing.
Really?
You cut a little piece off it's really like grizzle. And when you put it on the hook, it stays on the hook. It never comes off. You can catch multiple fish with one little piece of beaver tail. And
I've heard beaver meat is good.
After I skin it, I'll gut it out. I'll throw it in the freezer, and a guy at work, he cans them. And it's very tasty when he cans them.
We were disappointed with our catch for the day, but there's plenty of season left. Since it was a slow winter for anything else, and it was too beautiful to be indoors, I spent a couple more days following James across the ice, which we were losing fast in the 50-plus degree February days.
We shouldn't have conditions like this in February.
James had traps again in some of the places I filmed him making sets before, and he had traps out in a few new places.
Beavers moved in here and made us a little hut. Doesn't look like we got anything. Well, we do got one. Small one. 15, 20 pounder only. It's always good to get that first one, especially in the first trap.
It was a much better start today.
Over there is a spot where they were coming up. You can see some lily pad roots they've been eating on. Nothing. Nothing again. Legally, I could leave them there all week if I wanted to, but I like to check them at least every other day. But in this case, I set them yesterday, and I got pulled today because I go back to work. So a 24-hour soak. It's not really long, but if I had an extra day off, I would have done a 2-day soak. We got a beaver. You can see the trap sticking up. You can see the beaver's nose. He was coming out.
And these 2 beavers were all she wrote for the day.
It'll be a long walk. Well, we're gonna cut through the woods here. We'll shave off about a 1/4 mile. We'll get all the wind. If I got a beaver, we'll have to go all the way around that point. Oh, I didn't even notice this yesterday, but we got an otter toilet here. Well, if I do get one, I got an otter tag, so.
Otter scat wasn't the only sign they were active here.
And they got some footprints in the ice. Feel something in there? Yeah, we do. Feels heavy. A 2-year-old beaver. 3/4 mile walk, it was worth it. Try to get all the excess water off of it.
Someone's ever thought snow would dry it.
Right. Next spot's gonna be kind of sketchy with that spring coming in. Oh, we got an otter. Not what I was hoping for, but I'll take it. I'll skin it out, put it on the board, and I'll send it to Canada with the rest of my fur I send. I gotta go get what they call a cities tag. You can't ship them or sell them without the cities tag. Yes, that's their feed pile.
Wow.
They got a lot of it above the water.
Yeah, they do.
They just kept on adding and adding. Well, we got one here too. Well, that's a big beaver. Oh, there we go. That's 50 pounds. And it looks like a black one. That's gonna be worth some money. It was coming out of the hut. Well, I'm happy. That's a nice one. Yeah, that's a black beaver. I'm happy I walked 3/4 mile to get to this one. Good 45 to 50 pounds. Wow, I'm happy. That was worth the walk. Oh, I got one more trap to check on this one. And roots. Missed one. Oh, there's a water beetle.
How did you find this spot way out here?
My brother found it for me. Big shout out to Dennis.
You out ice fishing or what?
He came out ice fishing. Wasn't much for fish in the lake. Told me about it, so I set up 2 days ago with him. I'm happy. I guess I got one big black beaver. It's worth the trip. Yeah. That wasn't open a couple days ago. I hope we can get around here. Well, this wind cracking the ice, I think it just let loose. It's gonna be a tough pull, but we're going through the woods. For all black one, it might fetch $60. Especially a big one like that.
Winter is the best time to trap beavers for their fur. Under the ice pelts will have the least damage, the best color, and by late winter, the longest and thickest hairs. But, as we've seen, it can be pretty challenging since you never know what Mother Nature will throw at you.
Another otter. It was coming out of this bank then. A 2-year-old. That's another 30-pounder. Perfect catch. He was going after that popple stick. When I first tried that just before Christmas, I caught 2 out of 3 traps, then got skunked the last 3 weeks or so until today, and it works.
You just set that 2 days ago, huh?
Yeah, I put the ice back in there to cover it up. This is an entrance going into the hut, and that's a little one. Last year's kit. I got a couple baited sets here and one in front of an entrance. Oh, we got one. We got a little one. Nothing on that one. Feels like there's something. We might be lucky. Feels heavy. Oh yeah. I gotta chop the hole out. That's 6 for today. Puts me at 61 for the year. And I should get way past 72.
There are no bag limits on beaver.
Back in the 70s and early 80s, you were only allowed 25 for a whole season. When the fur prices back in the 80s crashed, nobody was trapping, so the beaver got out of hand, and that's when they took away the limit of beaver.
In 2018, the DNR estimated a little over 2,000 beaver trappers in the entire state of Michigan, and estimated just under 17,000 beavers harvested that year. That's less than 0.2 beavers trapped per square mile. If the fur trade of the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries didn't wipe the beaver out here, I think it's safe to say today's fur harvesting is not a threat to the beaver population.
Population's pretty stable. Well, the wolves take their share, the coyotes. I'm sure bears will hang around dams and that too, waiting for a beaver to cross, or up in the woods. I'll probably be up till 1 o'clock in the morning, skinning and fleshing. I might do half and then save them for the rest of them for my next days off. Lots of work, but I love doing it.
And for all of you viewers in the Western UP, the Camp Josh Gun Banquet is on Saturday, April 6th at the Kentika Restaurant in White Pine. Raffles start at 5 p.m. with prime rib dinner served at 6:30. Dinner tickets are $50 each or snag a pair for $90. The mission of Camp Josh is to provide outdoor recreational opportunities and education for people with a disability of any kind, focusing on hunting, fishing, and the camp itself. Reserve your tickets now by calling the Kentika at 906-885-5170. That's all for tonight, and I hope to see you right back here next week for Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.